Hey everybody, what's up? It's David again. Today we're gonna be doing something a little bit different. Today we're gonna be speaking about collaboration with animators. Sometimes you would like your designs to behave in a particular way, or to have an animation on your UI piece. Or for example, with the gems that we did in the previous video, you want them to fly in a particular way to the balance. Sometimes it's much easier for you to create this flow of animation than to search all over the internet. So let's begin. Let's create the storyboard for our animator to reference his animations on. Basically, we're gonna create 3 stages of the animations. Let's remove all the unnecessary elements and leave only the diamond here. And let's also make a smart object out of this diamond so that we can manipulate the shape without ruining it. So right click on this diamond folder, convert to smart object. Now you have your smart object, but look what happened. The transform box is all over the place and has a lot of alpha with the icon itself. We will go inside of this object, go here to image, trim, choose this first option, transparent pixels. Much better. This diamond is a little bit off to the left side, and it's because all of this bloom effect that we did. We can just center it, remove this background layer and save it. Now when we enable the transform box, as you can see, our diamond is pretty much centered. Great. So for example, our player got this diamond currency in the game and they collect it. Okay, so a few things that we don't have on the screen right now is the button and the balance. So just duplicate this diamond by Ctrl J, move it here to the left side of the screen, because this is where you usually see the currency icons. Now let's give it some rotation. Let's decide which direction. Yeah, this one looks better. We don't need all this bloom effect because it's actually ruining the shape a little bit. And if you want to have stroke, it's going to be all over the place. Right click on this diamond and click on new smart object via copy. Let's remove this old one and double click this new diamond copy, remove all these bloom effects, save it, and you will have a nice clean diamond shape without all the bloom, ready to be used as an icon. Alright, now we can simplify this little icon a little bit, but for the purpose of this tutorial we won't gonna be doing it. Okay, go to this rectangle tool and create some kind of background element for this diamond. So this is where all the numbers will sit in. Here on this properties corner, just give it some roundness to this shape, transform it a little bit, stretch it left so that the diamond will actually cover all of it. So right now I'm designing on a gray screen. Yeah, you don't have gray screens in your game. So I just generated something real quick in Midjourney, and let's use this as the background for this fictional game scene right now. Okay, so if we think about it narrative wise, you just found this diamond on this beach, and now is the moment when the player collects this diamond. Maybe it's the first time the player found the diamond, so it's even more interesting because now we need to introduce this currency to the player. So it's not only the collection of this item, it's actually the introduction, collection and accumulation sequence for our player. And it's very important because it's the first time the player sees it. Okay, let's take this background darkening thing that we had, make it all the way through black, maybe even add some multiply on it, and now set the opacity to like 80%. 80% looks great. For this ugly orange thing, let's change its color to very dark blue. Okay, so something in this area maybe. Great, but now it's invisible, so let's add some stroke to it. Okay, great. Yeah, something like this maybe, and in your shadow, and have it on a small scale, so something like this. And also with these turquoise colors, kind of gives it this glowing effect. Pretty nice. Maybe we can add some drop shadow now, with opacity set to 70 maybe. Let's see what we can do here. Okay, so choke 100%, size 2, and let's also add this bluish effect here. No, you know what, maybe dark blue. So that when we remove the background, it kind of looks sitting there above everything else. But you know what, it looks too dark now, and I want to have some opacity to this element. So let's reduce the fill to 50% and also maybe shrink it down a little bit. Something like this works really nice. And we also can do inner shadow once more, but this time it's gonna be black and it's gonna be underneath the previous inner shadow. Something like this, not completely black, but very dark blue. Okay, and let's see, what about this stroke here? What about the size? Yeah, so these are the parameters that I feel comfortable with. Okay, great. Now let's have some number written there. So like, yeah, let's use Fat Frank. It works all the time. 0 at the moment, because our player didn't accumulate any diamonds yet. And also I think we could have some glow behind the diamond. So let's create new layer. Make sure the brush hardness is set to 0 and click once somewhere on the screen and then just move it to the area that you want. Okay, let's test it. Let's see how it looks like without the background and with the background. Well, it looks nice. Let's just pretend we have a fully rendered button here on the screen. Let's just make sure it's centered. Oh, okay, let's make sure our diamond is centered as well. Great. Round corners. And let's make our button orange, because orange just stands out so nicely on contrast with our diamond. And also let's have some stroke for this button. Let's make this stroke white and let's give it some thickness, opacity 100%. Some inner shadow, you know, it's something like this, maybe another inner shadow like that. And I'm not going over the creation of this button in detail because we don't need it in this video. Okay, maybe just another stroke here, just another one. Let's make it this brown color, like here, and make it above and make it a little bit smaller. And this inner shadow with the brown color, we will make it with 50% opacity. So something like this, yes. And maybe here the opacity could be a little bit bigger, so 30%. Okay, cool. Oh, you know what? You know, just one less thing for this button. Maybe the drop shadow. So distance, yes, okay. And also like make it this gray color, I know. Okay, something like this. Okay, cool. It's not even important and I don't know why I made such an attempt in this short video, but okay, let's do it anyway. Now write something smart like claim, put it here. Give it some stroke, preferably the same stroke as you had for the button. Maybe we can make the size a bit bigger and also add the drop shadow. Let's see. Okay, this drop shadow looks nice, but it's just too wild for our case. So something like this works. Now let's group it. So select both layers and Ctrl G on the keyboard, name it claim button. All right, now we have something to click on. Amazing. Okay, so actually, so now our tutorial really begins. Until now, we just have set up the scene. If you want to be sure if the elements that you put on the screen look and feel right, I suggest you send this image to your cell phone. And you know what? Let's do it right now. Here is the image. And I immediately noticed that the color for the button should be a bit brighter because it's like too orangey right now. And also this diamond can be a bit lower. Let's do this little adjustment for a second. Put this diamond lower and make this color a bit brighter. So something like this. Let's send it again. So now when I'm 100% certain of what I'm doing, and how it should look like, it's time for us to create this animated flow. So the way I do it is actually every state of the animation has its own folder. So this is going to be our first folder, scene 1. But we also need scene 0 where we don't have the claim button yet, right? So just Ctrl J to duplicate this scene. Let's make this scene 0. Let's remove the button. And you know what? Maybe we also don't need this diamond balance right now. So let's just hide it. So let's make some kind of dynamic appearance preview for this diamond. So let's create some movement for this scene 0 where this diamond actually like floats above the ground and is presented to the player. To make it a little bit more dynamic, we need to add some kind of rotation to it, right? Because it's like it's going up. We want to have something like this, but also we want to have some kind of magical like energy around it. Okay, so create a new layer, Just with a round brush set to 0 hardness with this turquoise color, make some brush strokes that represent energy that you want this diamond to have. So for example, for me it's gonna be something like this, and it doesn't look like much. But now take this smudge tool set to about 65%. Smudge tool is also set to hardness 0. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Let's just move these shapes that we did around, just to represent this kind of magical particle flow or something. Play with the size of this brush and with the strength, and just create something that looks as a smoky effect maybe. So it's not working the way I planned it, but you know, let's commit to the process and let's create something that is presentable. And now let's make some glitters and shimmers. Okay, so something like this. It works pretty nice. Okay, so this is the first scene, all right? The appearance of the diamond, the presentation of this element. Now we are going to scene 1. In scene 1, we had our claim button and also the diamond balance. But something is missing, right? We need to have this light rays behind our diamond because it's a presentable icon and also it's the first time. So let's create a new layer, put it behind the diamond. Cool, so we have our light rays, we have our diamond, the claim button. Another thing that we can have is this same glow that we had for the balance diamond. With a round brush, hardness set to 25, just tap it once behind this diamond and you will see how everything suddenly pops out even more. This is our second scene, which is actually like scene 1 because 0 is just the appearance. And now we need to show how after pressing the claim button, this diamond will burst and fly to the balance on the side of the screen. So let's duplicate this scene 1 with Ctrl J. First of all, we won't be needing this claim button, so just disable it, copy this diamond a bunch of times and create a variation in size on a path to this balance. We have created this basic flow for our diamonds, and the reason we did it like this is just so that we can have the feel for the composition of this flying effect. Okay, of course this diamond here also needs to be smaller and have its direction tilted towards the balance, but it's not enough, they're too similar, so we need to change their rotation and size as well. Sometimes the project manager asks you, how will this look like? I cannot imagine how it will look like. Can you show me like a flow or something? So you say, yeah, of course I can, because of course you can. So now that we have our diamonds fly like this, and now with the round brush create the same energetic flow that you had for the first scene, like scene 0. Make something interesting like this, and now we maybe can have some variation in size, also something like that here. Okay, cool. And now with the smudge tool again, let's smudge it and create some effect representation. Basically, I'm following the same line that I did with the brush, but remember, we're just creating a reference. So it's not the exact animation that's gonna be presented when the animator is gonna work on it, but it's gonna be much easier for the animator to understand what you had in mind when you were planning this. I've also added this drop shadow here, so just take a look at the parameters. This is the color, so it's a very bright blue color. Distance and spread set to 0, and only size is set to 103, and you can have it more or less, whatever suits your design best. And of course opacity is 100. Let's add this starry particle again. Don't overthink it because eventually it's gonna be animated, but just to set some kind of visual direction, it's great. Let's also bring it above the diamonds so that we can tap a little bit on the diamonds themselves. Looks a tiny bit like Disney something. For the final scene, we want to see accumulation in this balance. We won't be needing any diamonds here. We will need only the diamond balance. When this accumulation happens, let's have some kind of light rays behind it. So because we already did them, let's just duplicate them here to this last scene. Just make sure they are small enough. So when this magical flow finishes, we have this light ray glow behind the diamond and we see the accumulation. And let's also make the balanced background bluer when we have this accumulation. So just bring the color all the way through to this blue color. Okay, so there you have it. Very simple flow for our diamond appearance, something to give to the animator, something to show the product manager. It's always nice when the designer has thought through how these sequences will behave and look like. So there you have it, my friends. A very simple but very handy tool to have in your arsenal is the ability to visualize the animation or the flow or the storyboard of your designs and to be able to articulate it both visually and verbally in meetings with animators, stakeholders, project managers. It doesn't matter. As long as you can imagine it, you can do it. So of course, my dear friends, if you liked the video and you learned something new for yourself, let me know in the comments section below, and of course don't forget to like the video and consider subscribing to the channel. As always, thanks for watching and I see you all in the next one. Bye bye.